Ladies and gentlemen, I come to you today not merely as a speaker, but as a messenger of warning. There is a God in heaven, a God who sees, who knows, and who cares deeply about the sanctity of our homes. And I tell you now, He is upset. Yes, He is upset. Not at you alone, but at something that has found its place in your house. Something that should never have been allowed to settle in the shadowed corners of your life. And the time has come to remove it, to cast it out, to purify the spaces behind your walls, behind your doors, behind your very life. For when what is evil lingers, the blessings are blocked, the peace is broken, and the spirit groans. Today we will confront it. Today we will face the truth. And today we will remove that which has stirred the anger of God from the backside of our homes before it turns to ruin what He has called us to build. There is a warning that echoes in the unseen chambers of our lives, a whisper that grows louder the longer it is ignored. The walls of your house are not just walls, they are witnesses. The rooms where you gather, the corners you pass by in silence, the spaces behind your doors, all of these bear testimony to the unseen presence that either brings life or invites ruin. And I tell you today, the presence in the shadows, the presence at the backside of your house, is no small matter. It is no trivial thing. It is not just a cluttered corner, a forgotten object, or a meaningless habit. It is a seed of discord, a source of unrest, a door left open for what should never be welcomed into the dwelling where your life is nurtured. For when the sacred space of your home is compromised, the spirit groans, blessings are hindered, and peace flees like water from a cracked vessel. You may not yet feel the weight of it, but the signs are there, and they have been ignored too long. You have walked past it for years, perhaps laughing it off, dismissing it, telling yourself that it is harmless. But the truth is, it is not harmless, and every day that it remains, the anger rises, the upset grows, the disfavor builds, and now the hour has come to face it, to confront it. To act before what is hidden becomes what is destructive. Look at your own home. Walk through the spaces where your family gathers, the rooms where your children play, the halls you pass on your way to rest. There is something there that does not belong. It is not merely physical. It carries weight beyond what the eye can see. It may be a thing, a habit, a pattern of thought, a voice that lingers too long, a memory left unguarded, but whatever it is, it occupies a place in your house that is not its rightful place. Behind the doors, behind the furniture, behind the very places you think are safe, it waits. And it waits not quietly, it waits with a presence that disrupts, that steals, that hinders the flow of life. It whispers lies in the silence, it breeds division where there should be unity, it dims joy. Where laughter ought to reign, it turns hearts away from gratitude and draws them into frustration, anxiety, and fear. And still, you have ignored it because the danger is subtle, because the offense is hidden, because the heart refuses to believe that what seems so small could have such a large consequence. But listen, what is hidden is never harmless. What is ignored grows in power. It multiplies in influence. It feeds on neglect. And in time, it will demand acknowledgement in ways that cannot be avoided. There is a sacred order to life, an invisible law that governs blessing and prosperity, peace and harmony. The home is the foundation of that order. The home is the first altar, the first place of protection, the first place where life is nurtured, love is cultivated, and souls are strengthened. When that foundation is violated, even in the smallest way, the ripple spreads. It spreads from the walls to the hearts, from the rooms to the relationships, from the visible to the invisible. You may notice tension. You may notice exhaustion. You may notice that the weight of the day feels heavier than it should, that the rest you seek is never complete, that the joy you pursue is always just beyond reach. These are not coincidences. They are signals, warnings, invitations to repentance and action. The upset that exists is not abstract, it is real. It is not temporary, it is persistent, and it is addressed to you, calling you to courage, calling you to discernment, calling you to remove what should never have been welcomed in the first place. And what is this thing? You may ask yourself, how will I know? The answer is not always simple. Sometimes it is obvious, sometimes it is concealed under the guise of convenience, under the mask of tradition, under the guise of harmlessness. It may be a habit, a relationship, an object, a distraction, a thought pattern, or an influence that you have allowed to settle into your life unchallenged. It is something that corrupts silently, that divides quietly, that steals the peace subtly. You may look at it and think it is yours, that it belongs to your life, that it is innocent, but innocence is often the cloak that hides danger. What is in your house may appear benign, but its presence has already affected the course of your days, the unity of your family, the direction of your life. And you must understand this: when the sacred order is violated, it is not merely a suggestion to change, it is a command to act. The removal must be decisive, it must be complete, it must leave no room for doubt, because partial measures invite recurrence and hesitation prolongs unrest. The place where it dwells, the backside of your house, is not random. It is the place of neglect, the place of shadows, the place where vigilance is lax and attention is minimal. It is a mirror of the heart, a reflection of what has been ignored, a reminder of the areas where compromise has taken root. And here is the truth that many overlook. What uppies the backside of your house, the hidden corners of your dwelling, is often a representation of what occupies the hidden corners of your life. The unseen, the unaddressed, the unexamined. It may be fear, it may be bitterness, it may be pride, it may be distraction, it may be disobedience. Whatever it is, it grows stronger when ignored, it spreads quietly when unchecked, it corrupts when left unchallenged. And the longer it remains, the harder it becomes to remove, the more entrenched it becomes in the structures you have built, the more it steals the blessing that was meant to flow freely. Consider the warning signs. Perhaps the laughter in your home is rare. Perhaps the arguments linger longer than they should. Perhaps the weight of unresolved tension rests heavily on your shoulders. Perhaps dreams that once seemed attainable now feel distant. Perhaps the unity you hoped for in your family is fractured in ways that cannot be seen, yet are deeply felt. These are not accidents. These are echoes of the presence that is unwelcome yet tolerated, the presence that has stirred the upset, the presence that cries for removal. And hear this: no amount of denial will change the reality. No amount of rationalization will remove the influence. The time for action is now. You must identify it, confront it, and remove it. You must clear the space, cleanse the house, and restore the order that was intended from the beginning. The act of removal is not only physical but spiritual. It requires courage, discernment, and resolve. It requires the willingness to look honestly at your life, to confront what you have allowed to take root, to acknowledge the compromise that has been permitted. It requires a vision of what your home can be when it is aligned with the purpose for which it was created, a place of peace, of protection, of blessing, of life. And as you act, as you remove the hidden presence, as you cast it out from the backside of your house, you will begin to sense a shift, a release, a restoration. The air will feel lighter, the walls will seem brighter, the corners that were once shadowed will no longer harbor fear. The relationships that were strained will begin to mend. The joy that was stolen will return. The peace that was absent will settle once again, like water filling a dry basin. And yet, you must not delay. Delay gives strength to what should be removed. Delay allows roots to grow deeper, influence to spread further, harm to multiply. The upset is patient, but it is also persistent, and it will continue to press against the spaces you have neglected until you act decisively. You must summon the courage to walk through every room, every corner, every hidden space of your dwelling, and ask yourself with honesty, what does not belong here? What has no rightful place? What stirs the disfavor and unrest that I feel? And when the answer is revealed, you must act. Do not rationalize, do not postpone, do not fear confrontation. Removal is the only path to restoration. Do not underestimate the power of what you see as small or inconsequential. The smallest compromise in your home can open doors for trouble that you cannot yet imagine. The tiniest fragment of disobedience, the smallest bit of neglect, the faintest whisper of bitterness can gain strength when ignored. It feeds on your doubt, it feeds on your inaction, it feeds on your reluctance to confront the truth. And the longer it is tolerated, the more it multiplies. until what began as a small offense becomes a great weight upon the life of your family, the peace of your household, and the joy that was meant to flow freely. You must understand that what occupies the hidden spaces, the unexamined corners, the backside of your house is no stranger to the sacred order. It resists alignment, it resists correction, it resists the intention for which your home was designed, and it will continue to resist until removed. This is not merely about objects, nor merely about habits, nor merely about the external. It is about the alignment of your life, the alignment of your family, the alignment of your home. It is about integrity, about vigilance, about discipline, about discernment. It is about taking what is sacred seriously and refusing to allow the profane to linger. It is about understanding that every space in your home is sacred and every presence has power, whether that power builds or destroys. And the power of what is unwelcome is destructive. It may hide quietly, may whisper softly, but it is destructive nonetheless, eroding the foundation you have tried so carefully to build. Walk through the halls of your home as if seeing them for the first time, and you will notice it. Walk through the rooms as if searching for treasure, and you will find that what is hidden is not treasure, but a burden, a trap, a seed of unrest. You may have thought it harmless, you may have thought it innocent, you may have thought it too small to worry about, but now the truth confronts you. It is not small, it is not harmless, it is not innocent, it is an intruder, and the time has come to act decisively. Consider how quickly a small leak will destroy a roof, how a tiny spark can burn down a forest, how a minor crack in a dam can flood a valley. So it is with the unseen, the hidden, the ignored. What you overlook today can destroy tomorrow. What you tolerate in silence today will demand confrontation in turmoil tomorrow. And it is not only the house that suffers. It is the heart. It is the family. It is the very life that was meant to flourish. The disturbance is subtle at first, but it grows relentless, pressing against every corner, every space, every room, and it will not relent until confronted and removed. There is no wisdom in delay. There is no virtue in tolerance of what should never have been allowed. There is no blessing in compromise when it comes to the sacred spaces of your life. Courage is required. Vigilance is required. Action is required. To remove the presence is to restore the order that was intended from the beginning. To remove it is to open the way for peace, for blessing, for protection, for life. To remove it is to honor the sacred trust of the home, the foundation of the family, the altar of the dwelling, and you must act with decisiveness, with courage, with resolution, with clarity, with faith, that the removal is the path to restoration, and the act itself is powerful beyond measure, for it signals to the unseen, to the spiritual order, that the time of compromise is over, that the house is no longer a place of tolerance for disorder, that the home will be a place of life, of peace, of blessing, of joy, of unity, of strength, of vigilance, and of alignment with the order that brings protection and prosperity. There is a shadow that lingers in places where light should reign, a presence that sits quietly, almost unnoticed, until its weight becomes unbearable, and yet we walk past it daily, blind to the harm it brings. The house, the dwelling, the very walls that were meant to be a place of refuge, of safety, of peace, are violated not always by overt chaos, but by subtle encroachments, by things we allow without realizing the cost. It is a quiet insurrection against the order of life, a hidden thief that steals without confrontation, that undermines without notice, that turns spaces meant for blessing into spaces that harbor unrest. And this unrest is not external alone. It penetrates the heart. It contaminates the mind. It disrupts the spirit. For when the unseen is tolerated, the foundation begins to tremble, and the life that should flourish within these walls begins to falter. You may not recognize it immediately. You may dismiss the feelings of unease as normal or temporary, but the truth is deeper, older, and more persistent than you allow yourself to believe. Walk through your home as if for the first time. Look not only with your eyes, but with the awareness that senses what is unseen. You will notice corners that hold tension, shelves that carry more than objects, spaces that hum with unease. The air itself, though invisible, bears witness to what is allowed, to what is ignored, to what has been tolerated, and is here in these overlooked corners that the danger has settled, that the presence waits, that the imbalance grows stronger. It does not announce itself with sound. It does not reveal itself in grandeur. It is subtle, patient, relentless. It observes your routine. It measures your attention. It calculates the moments of inaction, and it seizes those moments to expand its influence. What begins as small is soon significant. What begins as quiet becomes deafening. What begins as seemingly harmless becomes a torrent that sweeps through the household, leaving confusion, division, and sorrow in its path. The nature of this presence is deceptive. It wears the mask of innocence. It hides behind convenience. It camouflages itself among items, habits, or practices that have become normalized. You may believe it is harmless, that it has always been there, that it cannot be dangerous. But that is the trick. Familiarity breeds comfort, and comfort allows the subtle poison to spread. Every day that it remains, the power grows. Every day that it is ignored, the influence deepens. And when the time comes for reckoning, the weight of what has been tolerated is felt not only in the home, but in the hearts of those who dwell there, in the relationships that were once strong, in the peace that was once steady, and in the dreams that once seemed within reach. The home is not merely a physical structure. It is an ecosystem of life, emotion, spirit, and order. And when one element is compromised, the imbalance radiates outward, touching every aspect of life connected to it. Consider the signs. There may be constant arguments, unexplained tension, fatigue that has no cause, anxiety that rises without reason, dreams deferred, joy absent. Perhaps the energy in the home feels heavy, the laughter rare, the peace fleeting. Perhaps the relationships that once seemed solid now feel fragile, and the harmony that was cultivated with effort seems distant and unattainable. These are not accidents. They are echoes of the presence that has taken hold in places where it should never have been allowed. They are evidence that the boundaries have been crossed, that vigilance has failed, that the home has been compromised in ways both subtle and profound. And yet, many continue to ignore the evidence, hoping that time or prayer alone will resolve what requires action. But the truth is this: recognition without removal is only the beginning, not the solution. Identification without action allows the presence to strengthen. Acknowledgement without confrontation only prolongs the unrest. There is a principle at work, a law that governs harmony and blessing, that what is allowed to dwell where it does not belong will grow in influence, and that what is removed with decisiveness will cease to dominate. The law is simple but profound. Disorder tolerated will expand. Disruption unchecked will intensify. The unseen influence unchallenged will multiply. And the removal is not merely physical. It is spiritual, emotional, and psychological. To remove is to restore, to cleanse, to correct the trajectory of life, to reclaim what has been stolen, to reestablish order where chaos has taken root. The act itself carries power, for it is an acknowledgement that the sacred cannot coexist with the profane, that peace cannot coexist with tension, that life cannot flourish where unrest has been permitted. And so you must confront the presence with clarity and courage. You must trace it through the spaces it occupies, understand the ways it manifests, recognize the subtleties of its influence. Do not dismiss what is invisible. Do not excuse what is inconvenient. Do not rationalize what is disruptive. The time for leniency has passed. The time for action is now. Every shelf, every corner, every hidden space must be examined. Every habit, every object, every influence must be questioned. And when the truth is revealed, you must act decisively. Removal is not optional, it is necessary. Cleansing is not a suggestion, it is a command. Restoration is not a possibility, it is the result of obedience. The process requires honesty, for often the presence we tolerate is not only external but internal. It is the reflection of our compromises, our overlooked responsibilities, our unresolved anger, our hidden resentments. It is the shadow of our fears, the echo of our indecision, the residue of past neglect. And we must not confuse familiarity with harmlessness, nor history with armless tradition. What has lingered for years without challenge may appear benign, but its influence is potent, its effect cumulative, its reach pervasive. You must confront the reality of the past as it has shaped the present, and you must act with courage to correct it, to remove it, to reclaim the space that has been violated. Imagine a home free from the burden of what should not dwell there. Imagine the light returning to every room, the air becoming clear and vibrant, the spaces once heavy with tension now filled with peace. Imagine laughter echoing through the halls, relationships strengthened, dreams restored, joy renewed. This vision is possible, not through denial or wishful thinking, but through decisive action. For the act of removal carries transformative power. It signals to every unseen and spiritual law that the home is reclaimed, that order is restored, that disruption will no longer dominate. And as you act, the energy of the home shifts, the atmosphere changes, the family feels the restoration, and life itself begins to flow according to the order for which it was designed. The challenge is formidable, for the presence is patient and persistent. It waits, observing, calculating, growing stronger in the shadows, waiting for hesitation, for inaction, for doubt. It seeks to manipulate your comfort, to persuade your mind that the disruption is tolerable, that the unrest is normal, that peace is unreachable. Do not listen to this voice of deception. Do not allow familiarity to blind you. Do not excuse delay with rationalization. The longer it is tolerated, the greater its influence, the deeper its roots, the stronger its hold. And the removal, when finally undertaken, will require courage, clarity, and decisiveness. And yet, you are not powerless. The authority to act, the strength to remove, the wisdom to discern, and the courage to confront are within you. They have always been within you, waiting for recognition, waiting for resolution, waiting for obedience. You must summon them now, for the hour is urgent, the need is immediate, the consequences of inaction are profound. Walk through every space as a seeker of truth. Uncover every hidden influence, name it for what it is, and act decisively to remove it. The removal is not merely symbolic, it is the key to restoration, the gateway to peace, the pathway to blessing. And as you remove it, do not look back with fear, do not hesitate with doubt, do not waver in resolve. Every moment of hesitation gives strength to what you seek to remove. Every moment of doubt allows the presence to resist more forcefully. Every delay prolongs the unrest. Removal must be total. Removal must be immediate. Removal must be without compromise, for compromise only invites return. When the presence is cast out, the light returns, the order is restored, the atmosphere is cleansed, and life begins to flourish according to the design and purpose for which it was intended. The home is sacred, the space be high. The walls, the corners left unchecked, the rooms where peace should dwell, all of these must be defended, protected, and purified. For the unseen is real, the influence is potent, the consequences are lasting, and the restoration is glorious, and the choice is yours to tolerate what should not be, or to remove it decisively, to live in unrest, or to reclaim peace, to allow disruption, to dominate, or to restore order, to ignore the shadows, or to shine the light of action upon them. Every object, every habit, every lingering influence, every hidden distraction, every tolerated compromise, all of these must be examined with honesty, confronted with courage, and removed with decisiveness. And as they are removed, the restoration begins, the peace that was absent settles in, the joy that was stolen returns, the relationships that were strained are healed, the energy that was heavy lifts, and the home becomes once more a sanctuary, a place of safety, a place of blessing, a place where life can flourish, dreams can grow, and hearts can rejoice in harmony and purpose.